I'm testing these DIY hacks from TikTok so you don't have to. Hey everyone, it's Christina from the DIYmommy.com. You might know that I have been finding lots of inspiration lately from TikTok when it comes to home decor, DIY, and home hacks. You might remember I shared a video a little while ago on some home hacks that were more organization and cleaning related. Today I'm going to share some more DIY oriented hacks that have to do with tools and interesting techniques for DIY. I'm going to make sure to credit the original TikTokers that made the videos that inspired this video, so check those out on the bottom of the screen and down in that description box below. So whether you use a Cricut, a paintbrush, or a measuring tape, I hope you enjoy all of these hacks. I'm going to share if I thought they were good, so-so, or bad, so that you know which ones would actually work. Let's get started.
I know there's a lot of you that like to paint a lot of things just like I do. I paint something every couple days, and often I do only half the project in one day and want to save my brush. Usually I pop my brush with paint on it in a Ziploc bag just like this, but it doesn't always do the trick. Sometimes I get the paint that sticks on or dries out a little bit. So this is a hack that is supposed to keep your brush fresh for longer if you want to kind of store it for the next time. For this hack, you use aluminum foil and you put your brush with paint on it in the foil. So I'm just going to get this brush nice and wet in this chalk style paint, and then I'm going to place it in the middle of this aluminum foil. This one is just Betty Crocker stuff from the dollar store. Then you package up your brush really well, so I'm making sure that all of the air is sealed completely out of this aluminum foil. The next step is to put your brush in the fridge just like this, and you should be able to keep your brush wet and stored in the fridge for a really long time. I left my brush in for 1 week, so let's see how the paint is holding up. After uncovering my brush, it seriously looks like I've never even stored it away for a week. The paint is still nice and wet. I'm still able to use the paint right away and immediately. The brush isn't stiff or anything. So this is definitely a hack that I am going to be using. Instead of storing my brush in Ziploc, I'm going to put it in tinfoil and pop it in the fridge. This next hack is really interesting. What you do here is you grab some paint and some rubber gloves or plastic gloves, an old sock, and something that you want to paint that's sort of an irregular shape. Put the plastic glove or the rubber glove on your hand and then place your hand inside the sock. Now you're going to use your hand essentially like a brush and dip it in the paint and paint your object with your socked hand. Honestly, you guys, I don't know why, but I was kind of grossed out by this. I did not like my hand in a sock. Yes, it's clean. I just didn't like the feeling of like touching my object with the paint. I don't know, it was just kind of weird. I think this hack is supposed to let you paint things evenly or paint things in a regular shape a little bit better. On the TikTok that I saw, the person was painting stair spindles with their socked hand like this. So I suppose it could work for something like that. However, I didn't feel like I got a very smooth finish. I'll show you what I mean. Here's how my painted object looks. It's almost dry, not quite, but you can see that you can still see streaks in it, just like you would see with a brush or some sort of foam roller or foam brush. So I don't really know about this hack. I would kind of give it a meh. This next one is how to clean your tools if they get rusty. I do really try to take care of my tools, but sometimes I will leave them out in the rain like this saw here. So for this hack, what you do is you take a tub, you put your tool inside that's rusty, and then you fill the tub up with some white vinegar. Just make sure that it covers the entire tool. Next, you're going to take some table salt. I didn't have any regular table salt, so I just used this sea salt. Put some of that inside of the container and let your tool sit for at least 24 hours inside of this salt and vinegar solution. Here's how my saw looked after. Oh wow, there's lots of rust inside this water. And the blade of my saw really oxidized. It was very, very dark, and I rubbed a lot of this black color off of it. However, the rust was completely gone. I was able to clean it quite a bit, but the metal remained dark and oxidized looking. So for this DIY hack, I would kind of give it the 5 out of 10, the meh score for how much I liked it. It did clean the tool, but I didn't like how it oxidized it. Here's another DIY hack for painter's tape. Often you'll just leave the tape like this, which is sometimes hard to grasp. But what you can do instead is fold the tape at a 90-degree angle, just like this, and then rip it off using the tape as sort of a spot to rip it, and then you have this nice triangle flap to grab the tape next time. I thought this was actually a really good way to rip painter's tape off. It does have a little bit of waste because you have that triangular flap, however, it was really easy to do. This next hack, I'm going to try to create an embroidery hoop out of an old yogurt container. I was pretty skeptical about this one, but excited to give it a try. So what you do for this hack is you grab a yogurt container or any other sort of plastic container with a round lid, and then you can cut the inside out of the lid just like I am doing right here, and you can also cut around the bottom of the rest of the container. I found folding the container just like this enables me to get my scissors in there and then cut the little rim off. I've been really liking embroidery over the past year, and I thought it'd be fun to do some embroidery pieces perhaps for Christmas gifts this year. So I wanted to see if I could make this upcycled hoop. I thought it would be potentially a great way to upcycle some old containers. So you can see the bottom of and the top of the ring fit together just like this. Now let's try to put some fabric inside and see if we can get enough tension to make a proper embroidery hoop. I'm grabbing this linen that I had on hand, placing it on top of the bottom part that I cut out, and then placing the top of the container on top just like this. I wasn't sure this was gonna work, but I was pleasantly surprised at how much tension I got in this fabric using this cut lid. It was actually really amazing. I'm definitely gonna use this DIY hack to make embroidery hoops so I can make little embroidery gifts for my friends and family this year. So awesome. The next hack is if you use a tape measure often like I do. Did you know that on the side or the bottom of the tape measure, you're going to find a measurement? In this case, this one is 3 inches and a quarter, and that's going to tell you the length of the measuring tape. This comes in handy when you're measuring a corner of a room. You can just use that 3 1/4 inches or whatever it is and place your tape flush against the corner. So here's an example. I'm just measuring this wall up to the corner. Rather than bending the tape like I normally would, I'm just adding 3 1/4 inches to my measurement. Here's what I normally would do, which is not that accurate. And here it is with that additional tape measurement. Such a good hack. The next hack is adding a glue stick onto your glue gun. This one says to add a small dab of hot glue onto your new glue stick and then add it into the back of your glue stick like I'm doing here. This is going to help keep your glue apparently continual so that you don't have to kind of wrestle with that glue. Honestly, I didn't find this one very helpful because there were a couple problems with this. If you didn't add your glue stick in at the proper time, for example, like what I'm doing here, I glued the end of my glue stick, I tried to jam it in at the wrong time, your glue gun gets kind of gummed up with hot glue in the back, which I don't think is a very good idea. Plus, I didn't find that the glue stick stabilized that much more than when I would just pop the glue stick in without a dab of glue. So for me, this one gets a thumbs down. I would rather just put the glue stick in regularly. If you use a Cricut machine, just like I do, you might like this hack. Oftentimes your mats, which are the things you put all of your materials on to put in the Cricut machine, will get really dirty. This one in particular has lots of glitter paper residue and dirt and hair on it. So I'm gonna try this hack that I saw on TikTok where you can spray it with Windex and hopefully clean it and maintain its stickiness. So I'm just spraying it with Windex here, and then I'm taking the Cricut scraper tool and scraping all of that residue off. If you don't have one of these tools, you could also use a credit card or any sort of card to scrape it. Honestly, I was worried that in this step I would scrape off that stickiness of the mat that you need, so I wasn't really sure how this was going to turn out. You can see that I also started scraping off some of the green color of the mat at the top right. Not exactly sure why that happened. Maybe I was being a little bit aggressive with my scraping. After I cleaned the whole thing, I took some paper towel and I gently wiped off the mat. There was a lot of residue that I got off of this. I did get it nice and clean. Surprisingly, it maintained its stickiness. I wasn't sure in the middle there because when it was wet, it didn't feel sticky at all. However, when it dried, I was able to put its clear cover on and it would stick really well to this mat. Look how sticky it is. You can also see the stickiness here when I shine it this way. This is definitely a hack that I am going to do again to save my Cricut mats. Instead of buying new ones, I'm just gonna clean them.
Thank you so much for watching this video today. I hope you found it useful. Let me know down in those comments below which of these DIY hacks was your favorite. I would love to know. I'm gonna also leave a link in the description box below to my other video that featured some home hacks from TikTok. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more DIY and decor ideas on a budget. I'm gonna leave some more videos that I hope you will love right up here.